The lunatic is on the grass.
So, first we're just going to go and just introduce yourself, and then I'm just going to toss a couple at you about, what it was like, and, and y'all could kind of take it from there, I thought this is a pretty good panel.
Okay. My name is Joe Fusco, branch secretary, branch 60.
Bob Gross, retired carrier.
Phil Malta, retired.
Fred Capola, retired, former VP of Branch 60.
Joe Beccari, President Emeritus, Branch 60.
Bob Millsap, President Emeritus, Branch 60, Stanford. Local business agent, you can throw that in there too.
French.
Oh, Paul Pierre,
All right.
the French ambassador.
Yeah, hi, Peter Selma. I was a mailman for 7 years, all through school when I was a kid, and now I'm a lawyer, and I represented these guys when they went out on strike on March 17th, 1970, and I'm still working.
All right. Well, here we go.
And then I did get it, and I started with 99 cents an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. And sometime I would work maybe only a half a day. Sometimes I would only work maybe no day at all. And until I got established, because there was a ruling like that, 90 days that you had to pass a test that qualified that you can do the job.
Job security. And it was a great place to work in the beginning. It got lousy towards the end. Now I hear it's unbearable.
And what were the working conditions like right before the strike? Like, what made you guys think about it? Even
I didn't particularly like it, but the thing is, you had to do something because things were not right. Our wages were way down, and the things were not working really good. There was no helping hand. What you need, if you needed help there. So I says, well, the only thing to do is you got to go. Everybody's got to stick together on this here, which we did. And I can remember Vidi, he took pictures of every person that made that circle, walking around outside like that. Vidi took pictures of everybody. The only thing he says, I didn't mind you guys going on strike, but did you have to be the first ones? We were not actually first. There was some New Yorker.
Yeah.
Right.
New York, I think, was first.
Followed after New York.
But what we did, they found out that to get any results, you gotta stick together.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a tough decision. And I'd like to say, we were jumping up and down. You know that.
I do.
Right?
I remember scrapping.
There was a lot of discussion about it, but we knew it had to be done. Definitely.
Mhm.
And it was tough for us because our union representatives were not for it.
yeah.
And I don't want to mention name, okay?
Okay.
But our national business agent at the time was not exactly for it. And it was tough. It was tough. But then we had the support of Pete Sommer, and I'll never say it enough. This guy was outstanding. We also had the president, Clarence Fideli. God bless him. God bless him, because there was never any doubt in his mind of what he had to do. And by the way, I'd like to say, if Joe Beccari had been our president, he would have made the same decision,
Sure.
and that goes for you too. So there's no question in my mind about that.
And when you guys were kept abreast of this, and you were involved in this voting at all?
Right, we had a meeting, Hibernian Hall, and guys with 35, 40 years, they're the first ones that want to get up. We're going to get a nickel raise from Congress. Congress went on vacation. And the only thing that Manny Vetti, the postmaster, said, you guys got to be the first ones in the state to go out, and we were the first ones in the state to go out, in the state of Connecticut.
Good. And Phil?
I think we went out because of New York. I think we
Right.
we went and there was a vote.
Right.
But then I know that we took a vote on and I don't know if it was, I don't think it was unanimous.
Right.
There have been guys that said no.
Well, and Pete, were you involved in some of this?
Oh, yeah, I was practicing law for about 8 years in those days. When I started in the post office, I was in college. I worked there for 7 summers, and I worked 7 days a week. I needed the money, you know, and they were always happy to have me do collections on a Sunday, or regs, or deliveries, or relays, whatever. I took the trucks. I went. I enjoyed.
During the strike, while it was going on, how were you guys walking the picket line? Were you waiting home for the phone to ring to go back to work, or were you screw them and march in front of them?
We were all in the Knights of Columbus. They had the clerks came in the afternoon, because they were going out too, not just the carriers. And then the carriers came in at night. Well, by the time the carriers got there, Mom, I mean, on St. Patty's Day, you can imagine. It was lights out, and that was a lot of fun. And finally, we took a vote, and it was very, very close, but they decided to go out. And I remember guys getting up and making speeches like Frank Drop. Remember Frank? He was terrific, and you know, guys stood up who you never thought would stand up. You thought they were like Casper Milk, those quiet guys. But when they got there, with maybe a little shooter in them, they were ready to go, and they told you how they felt about it. But we decided to go out, and when we went out, then old Greenwich and Riverside and Coscob and Greenwich went out, and we went in with them, and our leader at the time, as they say, was Clarence Fideli and Danny Perella.
Yeah, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, Danny Perella was running the union, and they came to me. I said, guys, you're breaking the law. You're federal employees. You're not allowed to strike. The judge could fine us $10,000 a minute if he wants to. Oh, finally they got a restraining order, injunctions. They took us up to Bridgeport in front of Judge Timbers. And Timbers is from Darien. We knew Judge Timbers. And he says, he comes out on the bench. He comes out on the bench and he's got his dog there, a Weimaraner, big dog. He used to keep the dog under the bench while he was sitting. And they put on a lot of testimony. And he turns to me and he says, Counselor, did you tell these men, advise them to go out on strike? I said, yes, I did, Your Honor. He said, you realize that that's a violation of the United States Code annotated 17, blah, 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 blah. I said, yes, Your Honor, but they have a moral, legal, ethical, philosophical right to make a living and support their families. Timbers turns to the bailiff, big guy. Take Mr. Soma to jail. I said, wait a minute, Judge. Can I have 20 minutes with my people? He says, take an hour, but be back here. We came back, we said to the judge, we'll be back the day after tomorrow. He says, no good. Tomorrow. Okay. We were back tomorrow. That was the end of it. But we got a lot of notoriety, and it woke up a lot of people, and things really started to change after that. The money sort of came in a little bit more. The union guys weren't, you know, nice and nicer with management. They stood up a little bit, and things started to change.
Well, we had federal marshals there taking our pictures. We had WSTC there. I knew the kid. I went to school with him, so he came over and interviewed me. We told him we weren't getting what we wanted, and there's only nickel raise, and they turned us down. And we were walking on Atlantic Street picketing for 3 days, and everybody went by, blew their horns, and everybody, even when you went back to work, all your customers are all happy to see you, and they're glad you went out, and they're glad you're getting a little pay. And I think without that, the post office was, I started at 208, and 216, probably that was 9 years before that, so it must have been maybe $4 or $5 an hour. But the whole thing was the marshals there taking pictures and what else have you, trying to shake everybody up. But like I said, people really liked you on the routes and everything else. They were for you because they knew what we were getting paid.
Well, Phil?
Probably, I don't remember what we were making, but I know it was just probably above minimum wage at the time. And we had to go out on strike here. Most young guys here had a family. They weren't kids, you know, pumping gas. It was a living, and it wasn't good pay at the time. But I do remember one thing about Glenbrook was a small station, and I was down there picketing by myself. Which, but like you said, the people were for you. People would toot the horn. But it was, with a smaller station, it wasn't good, because I felt kind of funny. You don't know what was going to happen.
Right.
And I guess even management back then was happy that they did go on strike, because whatever we gained, they would gain also. And it was much different times than it is now. It's not like it was back then.
All supervisors and postmasters and so, they got more money too when we went on strike. They reaped our benefits. We never got paid for the 3 days we were out. Not yet, in case you want to go down to Hartford or down to Washington and tell them we didn't get paid yet. Maybe they'll send us a check.
But Bobby, you know,
You heard, when you heard they were going to strike, how'd you feel?
Well,
And some of you guys, you reaped the benefits of this. How did that help you when you came in? It was opera, I know you came in right
the
quickly
best
after.
thing about, see, I started in '71, and when these guys went on strike in '70, I was in Korea in the service. And I tell you, the fucking guys, I didn't get no mail for a month. I didn't get for a month, I didn't get no mail.
No bills.
Yeah, but no, the thing is, what the greatest part of that strike is, yeah, you got a few cents, but they got a contract. '74, when I started having a family, I qualified for assistance, and I took it. I took public assistance, even in '74 after we were getting raises. That's how little they earned, and that's how much that contract means so much. And the other thing of it is, I started in '71, and because of the contract, they made a lot more regulars. You had so many part-time people. In 3 months, I was a regular. That's how quick they made it, because they went on strike and put it in a new contract. It's a totally different thing. That's the greatest thing these guys did, was make quicker regulars. And
when I got into the post office, I made $4.64 an hour, and I thought that was the world, to make $40 more. And also the step increases that we received after the strike, you made top pay a lot quicker than what they did before the strike, and that was part of the benefits. And also with our health benefits too, they paid more of the premium, and it seemed like we got a little bit more respect after the strike. As you can see, we have two past presidents here. They can vouch for the way, you know, they dealt with us. And like I could see, like before when they were talking, it was like more like a mom and pop type of operation where the supervisors got along with you. But over the years, it just went the opposite, and it was about it.
Mike, I came in October 1970, so I had no clue what was going on. I wanted to grab a couple of paychecks, because I just got out of school, and $351 sounded like a hell of a lot of money to me. And I got on the workroom floor, and everyone seemed to be robust and having a good time. I said, man, I ain't going nowhere. I'm enjoying this and making a good paycheck. And before you know it, the paycheck started raising and raising. And I listened to the stories of the seniors. And then I would learn about the strike, what these guys went through. So a few years later, I got involved. And the first job I ever ran for was president. Stayed there for 25 years and enjoyed it and felt I wanted to be part of it. But just the feeling on a workroom floor a few months after the strike, I never experienced the stress these guys were going through, but I learned it through the seniors. And,
A lot of camaraderie.
yeah, it was good, Pete. It was.
I mean, everybody,
Yeah.
there was no infighting.
No.
You know what I mean? There was no beefs.
Well,
You do your job, you get paid, you go home, you come back the next day.
And if I yell, this is what happens when you get deaf. You start yelling, I don't know why, but that's
What'd
the
you
way
say?
it goes.
Huh?
And I'd like to include Chris in what I said about, that goes for you too, Chris. No, we should say also, we were very friendly with Branch 36, New York. And God bless those people. Because they're the one who really started. They were the first one. It was a big branch, and we just followed them. And one more thing, Mark, if I may. I'd like to pay tribute to my wife and to all the wives of the officers. You know, when I used to get home from the motel there, the only thing my wife used to ask me, she never questioned me. She used to say, are you going to lose your job? And I say, well, it might be.